3, 2.
Starting off with how to become a better monster, here are 3 categories where most players make fatal mistakes. The first of which is awareness, and the 2 most common mistakes that are made in terms of monster awareness is players will run to every single alert that they receive on the map, whether it is close to them or across the map. Doing this wastes precious time, as chasing someone across the map that may or may not still be there is a complete waste of time. Another mistake that is incredibly common is that monsters never tried to catch survivors attempting to deposit toy parts. Seeing as the monsters are actually faster than the survivors, it is completely possible to catch up to survivors and predict which toy part deposit they will be using and catch them before they are successful. The second category is movement, where most monsters make the fatal mistake of being predictable. An example of predictable movement can be found on the theater map, where most monsters will race to the closest puzzle pillar to the train at the start of every round, meaning that survivors can easily solve 1 or 2 puzzles and run away and hide before the monster ever gets there, making them waste all of their time. The biggest mistake that every monster in the game continues to make is camping the train. For starters, if the survivors have already completed their objective of retrieving the toy parts and can now leave on the train, you have already failed your mission. There is nothing you are able to do to stop the survivors from getting to the train. But the worst mistake you could make is camping said train, because on every single map there are multiple points where the survivors can move around and outmaneuver you to get onto the train. And in our last category where most monsters make fatal mistakes, we have sabotages. Let's explain those in further detail. Starting off our sabotage list is Feeding Frenzy. This sabotage instantly takes all downed survivors to the feeding pit, meaning you don't need to escort them there yourself. This allows you to go on a killing spree and potentially kill the entire team without needing to deliver one single person to the feeding pit. However, there is one very crucial mistake that players make while using this sabotage, which is activating it way too early. This sabotage is most effective when activated after already getting at least 1 kill, and can be maximized after getting 2 kills to make the sabotage last as long as possible. Activating it early just wastes time, meaning that you won't be able to go on a killing spree for nearly as long. Whereas if you wait to down at least 1 or 2 survivors before activating, you can really maximize its effect and go on the best killing spree possible. Next up on our list is Booby Trap. This sabotage is very underused, but is actually decently effective for new players. This sabotage places booby traps on different puzzles, and if any survivor attempts to activate the puzzles to use them, a trap will go off, damaging them for 20 health. This sabotage is also useful for new players because of the indicators that are given to the monster when the traps are set off. This will help you practice the fastest and most efficient ways to get to certain puzzles on the map, letting you learn the maps better and learn how to chase down your survivors in the most effective way possible. Next up, we have Directionless. This sabotage is underused, and for a good reason. It only removes all of the screen indicators from the survivors' screens, meaning that they can no longer see who's working on which puzzles or which revives are needed. I personally would not recommend this sabotage whatsoever if you are trying to become a god tier player. Our next sabotage is Living Nightmare. This sabotage will cloud every survivor's vision with dark fog, making it impossible to see more than 10 meters ahead of them. This sabotage is incredibly useful for those who already know their way around the map, as it lets you sneak up on people without being seen until the very last second. Next up, we have No Pack, which disables survivors' grab packs. This sabotage is mostly useful while chasing down survivors, as you can disable their grab packs throughout the chase and prevent them from shutting doors or using grapple handles. Next, we have No Escape, which is by far the most overpowered sabotage in the game. This sabotage will instantly deactivate lockers, crash doors, and grapple handles from being used, allowing you to chase your survivors with no means to escape. During a chase, the survivor can only escape you by running around the map, taking corners, going up and down flights of stairs, and leading you to other survivors to distract you. Seeing as this sabotage now lasts 45 seconds, it is definitely the most overpowered in the game, and god tier monsters will be using this sabotage constantly. Next up, we have Shutdown, which immediately disables all puzzles and requires survivors to find one of 2 circuit breakers to reactivate them. This sabotage is useful for newer players who are looking to learn the map or just run around and chase some survivors without letting them get too much progress on their puzzles. However, it is also useful if you are versing some very talented players who are very quickly solving puzzles, as it shuts them all down and requires them to look for the breakers. And last but not least, we have Total Lockdown, which instantly shuts all of the crash doors throughout the map. This sabotage is mainly useful for locking down different hallways and rooms and for preventing survivors from slamming doors in your face while you're chasing them down. However, god tier players are able to use this sabotage to trap their survivors in front of them before they're able to go through the door. Overall, these sabotages are very useful for learning the ropes of Project Playtime, and especially for becoming a god tier player when you learn what sabotage works best for you. While some of these sabotages are incredibly overpowered and will give you a tremendous advantage during chases, some of them are completely and utterly useless, so choose wisely. And now moving on to survivors. The best way to become a god tier player as a survivor is to learn how to effectively use your perks. Every survivor has 3 perks which they can equip for every game. Most players will equip whatever perks are appealing to them or whatever they think are the top 3 perks in the game. However, I have come up with a better strategy to effectively use every single perk slot to maximize your performance in-game. Think of each perk slot as serving a different purpose. The first slot should contain a perk that benefits you as a player. The second slot should be used for a perk that benefits your puzzle solving. And finally, your third slot should be used for a perk that benefits your team. And if you're playing this game with friends, coordinating who has which perk, especially for helping out the team, will definitely maximize your performance and help you complete your objective as fast as possible. For our first perk slot, aka the perks that benefit us as a player, we have Roly Poly, which grants you 2 roll charges instead of 1. However, this perk is only effective if you have purchased level 3. As level 1 of this perk will still give you a second roll charge. It doubles the roll cooldown, which makes it exactly the same as having a single roll charge. Next, we have Shadow Walker, which significantly reduces the volume of your footsteps. This is mostly helpful for players who prioritize movement throughout their missions and enjoy sneaking around without being heard. Next, we have Leave No Trace, which again is only useful at level 3. This perk will get rid of the footstep prints that are left on the ground while crouching, walking, or sprinting, making you nearly impossible to find once you round a corner. And finally, we have Punching Bag, which gives you a rechargeable shield capable of blocking 1 hit from the monster during a chase. This perk is mostly helpful for new players to learn the ropes of running away from the monster. And now for our second perk slot, for our puzzle perks, we have Think Fast, which lets you complete the reflex puzzle with up to 6 fewer inputs. Next, we have Genius, which lets you make up to 3 mistakes on the codebreaker/memory puzzle. Next, we have Master Pianist, which lets you skip up to 3 patterns on the piano puzzle. Next, we have Pathfinder, which increases the speed of the marble up to 75% in the maze puzzle. Next, we have Claw Collector, which slows down the claw machine by up to 15%. And finally, we have Puzzle Picasso, which allows you to make up to 3 mistakes on the collage puzzle. And finally, for our third perk slot for helping out your team, we have Distant Savior, which revives fellow survivors faster. and leadership, which will heal yourself and your team up to 6% of your health every second. By using this perk system, you will most definitely become a god tier player in no time. But that's not all there is to survivors. When navigating the map, especially when running from a chase, there are 3 essential parts of the map that will help you in running away from the monster. The first being grapple handles, which are green handles found on the walls around the map that pull you towards them and allow you to bunny hop off of them to gain a massive speed boost to run away from the monster. Next, we have crash doors, which you are able to shut in front of the monster to give you some time to run away. And finally, we have lockers, which I would personally never ever recommend using. They are far too loud, and players are required to hold their breath while in the locker, otherwise their breathing is incredibly loud and obvious. And survivors are not able to sit in lockers for more than 45 seconds without tripping an alarm that the monster can hear and see. Overall, survivors have now become incredibly versatile with many different ways to run around the map and escape the monster during chases, as well as tons of different perks to help them as a player, to help their team, and of course to help them complete their objective.